I'm in the game still rapping at a high capacity. If Nas wants to smoke, come in the booth. I will rap
He don't want
circles
no
around.
smoke. He enjoying that 150 million, 200 million he done
Okay
made.
then, so then leave me alone while I'm on the field.
You was effing with him. He wasn't bothering you.
Jim Jones was never better than Nas. Jim Jones will never be better than Nas. And this is coming from somebody that's not a Nas fan. I love Dipset. I love the Diplomats. I love Bird Gang. But we not about to start rewriting history because Jim Jones got confidence.
Jim Jones claimed to be more influential than Nas on Shannon Sharpe's program, more significant to the culture than merely relevant. And everything changed as soon as he uttered it. 50 Cent did not respond with a post. He omitted names. He just let the streets do the arithmetic after posting an old federal transcript on Instagram. Fans are now investigating wiretaps. Clips from the past are coming back. Jim, too, he is discussing about diss tunes at the gym, barking back in Rikers as if he were getting ready for battle. It is not only about Nas, though, furthermore, it is not only about ego. It feels like the industry is being reminded by 50 who is truly untouchable, and why some individuals eluded indictments inexplicably. This may have been begun by Jim to make a point. Now, though, he may have set off a chain reaction that goes well beyond music. When Jim Jones mentions Nas, it always hits a different note for a reason, because it was not yesterday that their tension began. It was not just any old generational insult. They have a long history dating back to 2002, when Nas disparaged Cam'ron at random during a Hot 97 tirade, for no apparent reason referring to his CD as whack. That was sufficient to trigger Dipset's assault mode. Jim Jones then dove right in. Then it became a mess. Mixtapes were being targeted by Nas and Dipset. Jim, he took it personally. He made a threat to hit Nas with the kufi and maintained the same vigor in songs like It Is More Than Music and We Fly High. This is where it becomes more complex, though. Jim has always adored Nas. Additionally, he was not disparaging him a year ago.
But I never got to, did I ever got to see Nas? I never got to sit down and have a conversation with Nas and things like that. I had called you about it and things like that. That was like still one of the people that I never got to have a conversation throughout my history of rap and things like that. I think I would love to have a conversation with Nas. I wouldn't know if he knows it, but Nas was one of my all-time favorite rappers coming up and things like that.
I've heard you say that.
Since the barbecue and things like that. Like he really put the whole dope boy rap, crack hustler, get fresh rap into perspective before anybody else.
But adulation quickly gave way to criticism. When Jim appeared on the podcast of Fat Joe and Jadakiss, everything changed. Fat Joe made the decision to stir things up.
I recently saw a clip on Instagram where a young kid was comparing you to Nas and saying that you got
that's my young boy
big hits.
He's wild.
Yo, he looked to you. He learned how to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He got his swag. Like, how crazy is that? Because in my era, you know what I'm saying? Nas is like a god.
In my era too.
The chronology may have been left with just that. Jim was not finished yet, though. He was eager to discuss this subject in more detail.
I admired Nas, but remember Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade. So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like you did, came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan. Period. I'd never take that away from him. But then as I got in the game, you gotta realize that your rivals would be idols, and not to take anything away from that, I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different generation.
He then abruptly released one of the most rash takes in modern hip-hop history.
I came into light and started going crazy that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them, some of them know.
You know what I mean?
A lot of them know.
Jim was not only saying that he was more relevant, he presented himself as having greater clout than Nas, Queensbridge the Nas, the creator of Illmatic, Son of God, King's Illness, the man in his 50s who continues to sell Madison Square Garden out. Jim, nevertheless, was not going to back down. He did not falter. He actually stepped up his efforts.
You know, me, Jim Jones. No Diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record, then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries, then check all them entries and and I'm not taking nothing away from nobody. But I hear the comparisons and then be trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this talking about the industry. I've been putting on.
The interview did more than merely stir things up. It overturned it and set it ablaze. Jim appeared on another platform, this time on Shannon Sharp's Nightcap, prepared to double down before the fallout from the podcast had even subsided. Jim Jones ended up adding fuel to the controversy when he went on Nightcap with Shannon and Chad Ochocinco Johnson to defend the remarks. Shannon did not overlook him. He said to start the conversation,
Can I ask you a question, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
You smoke, right?
Yeah.
Were you smoking when you said you better than Nas?
I might have been a little bit.
fans actually paused the program because of what he said next.
I'm way more influential than Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when you talk about the sales and all this type of thing. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
Well, you said that
but
bullshit.
listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit run.
Jim makes another move just when you think he has finished comparing resumes. Jim began discussing ancient Dipset verses. He was a better Nas fan, but he had outperformed him in terms of effect, according to a Nas feud from the early 2000s. He began to sidestep by mentioning Nas's fashion influence and referring to him as one of the flyest ever, but he kept going back to the same point. Nas does not have the same impact on the streets as he has.
But Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like, he
Ain't
never
no
had
shame in that. There a lot of mofos came up second to Tom Brady.
He never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album. I already told you, I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear, and we used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit like that. So I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit like that.
Shannon would have none of it.
Bro, you been in this thing, but lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
Yeah,
Y'all
but look
ain't
how
effing
you
with
dress.
Nas.
Look how you dress. You don't even be in the same places I be in. And the
But
things that we listen to,
I can be in the church house. You can't F with Nas lyrics. I don't know who told you that. Now look, I know you on that good stuff, but you're not seeing Nas.
Jim, meantime, became so upset that he began making fun of Shannon's attire.
You got a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than
It
Nas.
don't matter.
Look at you.
Ain't
Nobody
from Dipset gonna take you over Nas. Nobody from the Diplomats but you.
I got
Hold on, Jim. Hold on.
That shirt too
Hold
tight.
on. Jimmy.
You want to go back to I Really Mean It? I Really Mean It started. We could go back to the history, bro.
But you didn't even
do
say that.
bro.
Ochocinco was sitting there now, merely observing Shannon and Jim's altercation.
I'm still playing at a high level.
Hey,
You better check my record,
you
heard?
jumping up and
I'm
down.
still playing
You
at a
need to
high
go back
level.
and get Jada. Jada
I'm
done
rapping.
put y'all.
I'm rapping at a high level. You better check my stats, bro. I will
we
run
not
circles
denying
around
that.
Nas rapping right. I will run circles around Nas rapping right now. Right now, I will run Saturn around Nas right now rapping.
Unc exploded when Jim accused Shannon of bringing him on just to get views.
Right.
This the biggest podcast you ever been on.
Do you know
what podcast you been on bigger than this one?
Hold on. We off topic.
I'm not a
Hold on.
No,
This is what I do.
Joe.
You see
Name
you
a
in
podcast you been on
your
bigger than
feelings?
this
You
one.
see you
When
in
you
your
get
feelings?
big, you get
This is
invited to
what I
Club Shay Shay.
This is what I do.
Nas get invited to Club Shay Shay.
Then Shannon turned it around. He quickly transitioned from podcast presenter to adversary. Shannon was prepared to pull Jim to the gym if he wanted smoking. Shannon Sharp challenged not just his bars, but also his body when Jim informed him that he was superior than Nas.
You gotta start buying baggy your clothes, big fella.
Nah,
You too big, man.
You talk about you in the gym. Now you want me to see me in the gym?
Oh, we can do
Since
that.
you like to talk that ish, now come see me in the gym.
We talking about
Come
working
see
out.
me in the
What
gym.
we talking about? Working out or strength?
Hold.
What we talking about? Working out or strength?
Work however you want to do it.
We talking about
Since you got money,
and we talking about
put your
working out,
money
I
where your
burn
mouth
you.
feels.
So you talking about working
Run
out? I
them
burn
stacks.
you. You talking about working out? I burn you. You talking about working out or strength? Because you probably can lift a lot more than me.
Whatever.
You're bigger than me. You're probably stronger than me.
Whatever.
But if you talk about working out, I burn you.
This ain't what you do. This ain't what you want. You are doing
Bro,
good when
you
you're talking
better
about
go-
Nas
you
and
better go to my
Jada.
IG.
You don't want to see
You better
this.
check
He attempted to turn the debate into a gym flex and challenged Shannon to a workout war, rather than immediately retorting at 50 in an attempt to demonstrate his continued relevance and dominance in a new setting. But 50 had already made his move behind the scenes, and that person only had one label while Jim was still engrossed in Jim pyrotechnics, still looming large in the distance. In the meantime, the comments section was exploding. The fact that a former NFL Hall of Famer was suddenly supporting Nas in that way was being widely shared on the internet. One admirer stated, "Shannon did what Fat Joe and Jada should have done. Jones, you delusional. Shannon, thank you for bringing it up." And there are the facts as to why they were so silent throughout the interview. 50, meantime, had been in the shadows, watching the spectacle play out, and he was not laughing. But when fans resurfaced the footage, it became Jim is still baiting at the moment. Nas has not spoken yet. In the background, 50 continues to play the role of puppet master. Jim may have just talked himself into more than just a spat if the leaked wiretap is real, because 50 has been silent while he is rapping and flexing, too silent, and the bomb goes off when 50 stops talking. The question now is, will Nas intervene and put a stop to this with bars? Or is 50 going to leave Jim to the streets and just reveal the truth when it is too late to turn around?
But it got, honestly, I can't, if it was like Jim Jones, imagine putting a pen to paper to write about him. He was so nice about him. How did you do that? What's the first sentence? What the fuck do you write about him? I'm not anxious to hear the Jim Jones diss record. I'm like, yo. Used to have so nervous was like B.I.G. Pop. Right. Even Cannabis, like Eminem, used to have you like, if we go at it, dog, we gotta go hard. You know what I'm saying? But Jim Jones, I respect you getting your money. You're like, exactly, right?
The height of disrespect is that Jim was laughed off the stage by Nas back then, in addition to being ignored. And that same energy is once again in use in 2025. It did not stop there though, since someone else was observing everything from the background as Nas remained silent and Shannon became swole. 50 Cent did not even bat an eye when he learned of Jim's superior claim. After phoning Jim Individual 1, he simply smiled, took a few receipts out of his bottomless petty library, and repeated one of the most contentious rumors in hip-hop history. Because Individual 1 is not simply a nickname, it is a federal label taken directly from a Tekashi 6ix9ine wiretap that one caption has the internet in a frenzy.
I'm hiding out in Texas. Please, whatever you do, don't tell them I'm in San Antonio. Don't tell them I'm staying at the Four Seasons. Don't tell them, please don't tell them, because there's just so much pressure on me right now. I don't know what to do.
The streets still remember, especially now that Jim is attempting to woo Nas into combat by puffing up on podcasts. He retrieved a meme that he had previously swiftly removed from Instagram and republished it. "So that is why they am not drag him in," remarked the person. "Do not say that, Jimmy." Fast forward to 2019, when Tekashi's court case was updated by the Shade Room. According to a confirmed courtroom reporter, Tekashi identified Jim Jones as a member of the 9 Trey. 50 was compelled to write. Then the iconic footage of 50 looking scared appeared.
"Yeah, Jimmy boy, you should have never brought this up. Y'all are only 3 years apart, and Nas is just like murdering you. You asked us to look up the stats, and here they are. Like Jim Jones, you got a couple songs. I mean, literally, it's a couple. But we're talking about Nas. Let me show y'all Nas's last projects. Nas been getting it in since 2018. Jimmy, when the last time you put out an album? Or would you look at that? You have been dropping music. You really been dropping music. But nobody's heard it. Nobody's listening, bro."
He actually wrote, "I'm afraid for my life, I mean Jimmy is gang gang." Jimmy was twitching while the internet laughed. However, because 50 did not initiate this feud with Nas, this is when things start to change. This Nas moment after years of static with Jim, it provided him with the ideal justification to begin dragging Jim once more. In the midst of Dipset's internal turmoil, 50 Cent summoned Jim Jones and Jules Santana on stage at a G-Unit performance in 2007. Given that the organization was already disintegrating behind the scenes, Cameron viewed the move as an outright act of contempt. Then, in a wiretapped phone call recall that prosecutors aired in court during Tekashi the 9's federal prosecution in 2019, Jim Jones was identified as individual one. Jim was never formally prosecuted, but the moniker persisted, and snitching suspicions went viral online. Jim viewed every single one of 50's posts, and he was silent for a minute. Debris of Dipset nostalgia, he shared a vintage Bird Gang shot. According to the caption, "Why you keep lying? LOL. I'm going back to sleep. Free Mel Matrix till it's reversed." Free Mel Matrix is a tribute to his old buddy who has been serving more than 11 years due to allegations of racketeering. It was a jab, implying that 50 was creating a false narrative and lived in a fictitious world. Jim continued after that. His subsequent Jim Flex had the following caption: "Somebody tell Shannon Sharpe don't start ducking this challenge now. You gon' talk like a podcaster, or you gon' walk what you talk cause my sneakers tied. You already challenged me in front. The world might as well finch the job champ. Ocho Cinco." He said he don't want to do it in public. Tell let's do it in private. I know his rep as an athlete is on the line. As long as you're the witness, we don't duck, no challenges size. Don't matter where I'm from, run it. Jim was therefore preparing as though he were prepared for battle, while 50 was teasing from the sidelines. Additionally, Jim shared this on social media. "If you 40 and up arguing with me about Nas, you already lost. Y'all fell for the bait. My streams go up every time Mel got viral. I'm teaching you older artists a lesson in marketing. Y'all so stuck in yesterday, y'all mad at the way things run today? Tighten up." Then his caption summed everything up. "I said what I said. P.S. I will wrap circles around any artist from my era. Whoever dare step into the booth, bring some money with. You cause this game ain't free. We outside in the field. Take that as you may, but we working every day." The most absurd aspect though, Nas remained silent during all of this. Jim is still taunting in the meantime. It is still difficult. He continues to claim greater influence. So this would not be a simple insult if Nas ever stepped in. It would be a poetic performance. Fans, however, are criticizing Jim.